There we go. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural, whatever this is. I've tentatively called it late and live.
The chat thing.
The
thing.
chat thing that we is doing.
Late and live.
Yes, so as you can see, I am joined by some esteemed gentlemen. We have Derek the Tap Peddler with us.
Hello. Hi.
Hang on, is that me? Is that me? I had it open. Oh my God.
How many years have you been doing this?
Well,
I
can't
can't even remember how many years
That's
I've been
the
doing
copyright
this.
strike right there.
As I was saying, we have Derek. Welcome, Derek. How are you doing?
yeah, not too bad.
Good stuff. Good to have you. Down here we have Peter C. Peter Cummins. How are you?
I'm hot at the moment. It's a bit of a sweltering one.
Isn't it just? It was lovely. I took Jeff out for a walk and it was just glorious. The sun was setting. It was amazing.
Shouldn't moan, really. He's lovely. But it's a bit kind of like in this little box room, it gets a bit sweaty.
Yeah. Oh, too much information. And Chris, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You all right?
Yes, very well. So just quickly, we thought we kind of bashed our heads together and thought we'd try and get something regular going. We then struggled to find a time slot that suited us and all the other random live things that happen on the internet. So we're going to do a regular weekly thing, but it's going to rotate around. At the moment, it's myself, Derek, and Peter's channels. Chris is our guest for tonight. And we think we'll just pick a subject that we're interested in that relates to what we do and how we do it, eBay, reselling, all of that stuff, and maybe get a guest on each week. That's the loose idea, but it's open to change. So we are live. I did see a question come in, which I can get back to if I open that one. So perhaps we'll just dive in and answer that question first and see where it takes us. The legend said earlier, question for later, do you think selling online like we do now will last the next 30 plus years? I don't mean Amazon, more like a website like eBay where you can sell anything and everything. That's a big question to start with.
It's tricky, isn't it? Well, I think it will. The only thing you can say for certain is it will change. I don't know how it will change. 30 years ago, if I was, 30 years ago, if I was being bought a bike, it would be either you go down and buy it in the shop, or you might get a second-hand one from the Sutton Guardian.
You might get like an advert in the local paper.
Yeah, that's it, local paper.
Yeah,
and then that kind of went to like, selling papers like Loot and things like that.
Oh yeah, Loot.
And I used to do that all the time. Sort of, if I wanted to buy something, if I wanted to sell something. But knowing where it's going is a great question. I mean,
well, it's interesting you brought up like those little classified papers, because I made some notes earlier, just thinking about looking forward. It's the easiest thing to see how things are going to change is to look back. And I put down newspaper ads, newsagent windows I used to buy stuff out of, free ads, those little papers like Loot, and they've kind of been replaced by Facebook. That's the kind of equivalent now, isn't it? And definitely. eBay, I guess. But it's so hard to imagine where it's going to go. It's information sharing and it's just getting quicker and easier all the time. So I think it's just going to slowly evolve.
30 years is a very long time as well. You can't really predict 5 years' time.
We'll all have brain implants where, what we want is automatically taken into account by the microchip in our brain, and then it's automatically sent to us without us even having to do anything.
There's something in the States, isn't there, I think it's called Whatnot, where they do like live auctions or something.
Yeah.
I can see it evolving into a little bit like that.
But that's like that could be next year, couldn't it? That could be that could be very near future. But if you think like 20 years ago, when eBay was around 20 years ago, it ain't that different than what it is now. But the rules and regulations of how it works has changed. But the actual platform, maybe it's evolved more from, it used to be all auctions, really, didn't it? And now it's evolved to like buy it nows. But it's
and one of the differences is that, 20 years ago, there'd be very few people who would have bought or sold on eBay, and probably now I'd imagine 90% of people have got an eBay account. Might be a bit, a lot of people have got an eBay account.
It's certainly a lot easier to get on board with. Everyone has a mobile phone. That's all you need. I think the one thing we might be able to say with some sort of certainty is that it's going to splinter a bit. I think it's a lot. There's a lot of apps coming on. Some are taking hold, some aren't. But I think the days of there being eBay, Amazon are coming to an end. I think it's going to splinter out, and there will be, Etsy's growing and has grown recently. There's the apps that some of us use and try, and I don't know, I've never really got to grips with them, but I think it's going to sort of spread out a little bit. I think it has to really, and get more
I think it will do, because I think if you looked at sort of how a 40-plus-year-old resells on eBay, I mean, I'm not saying that's like indicative of the people in it, and you look at maybe how like a 20-year-old resells, it would be very, very different in the platforms they use. Definitely.
Even the way they list as well.
Yeah.
I use I know Chris uses
a typewriter.
He's obviously Chris's. So I use the desktop PC, and I can't use the app. I just don't get on with it. But I think that's really down to my age. Whereas if my son was going to put something on eBay, he'd just use the app. He wouldn't even. Well, he hasn't even got a PC. So
I think like maybe in the future, like instead of us typing in to put all the item specifics and to like take photos, do you think they'll take videos to the next level where you will present an item, tell everyone about it, and then you don't have to write specifics down because maybe voice recognition will pick stuff up, or the whole sales pitch could be you on a video presenting that item, a bit like Whatnot on a live, but maybe a pre-recorded thing. Then you don't have to do anything.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, look at the rise of TikTok. That came from nowhere to be one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, and that's just short videos. So you imagine short videos saying, "I've got some scales. Look, they're this size. They work. Look at it working," and blah blah blah.
Exactly.
And it's only a $5, blah whatever.
If you could get some way of somebody how to search for that and get
I mean, maybe you get you can type a title in, but
like you said, voice recognition that could interpret all of that, use all of those things you say as keywords. So as long as you keep in mind to say scales, weighing scales, whatever, it will pick up those keywords anyway.
I just think
automation is the future. Let's be honest. So it's Right, let's do that. Let's club our money together and build that.
Yeah,
I think you just got a genius idea.
Speak to your app person, Nick.
Oh blimey, don't talk to me about apps. We're bumbling along with our current one. But actually that's a good segue into reselling. Let's not forget, reselling is not all eBay and Amazon, etc. There's just as much stuff sold at car boot sales, jumble trails, etc. on a weekly basis. It's huge, and that hasn't really changed for decades. But jumble trails, yard sale trails, whatever they're called in different parts of the country, are rapidly becoming widespread and more regular. I've seen it around where we are really expand, and hopefully when we get the app out, that will only help push it further. So I think face-to-face has certainly changed, and Facebook has obviously helped that a lot with Marketplace. The countless little groups, the Hitchin's got 2 or 3, I've got stuff to get rid of groups,
Yes.
So that's changed quite rapidly in the last sort of 10 years.
So are you aiming to, and are you going to be the death of car boot sales, Nick?
That'll never happen. No, car boot sales are so established, and there's so many, and they're so entrenched, and they're not going away, and I wouldn't want them to. It's just about giving a lot of people, I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't consider selling at a car boot, but they would sell on their doorstep. And it's a way of encouraging people to recycle, make money, and obviously there'll be more stuff out there for the likes of us that are searching for it. That's really my mindset. I wouldn't want car boots to go away at all. In fact, the app is promoting them as well. So that's not the intention at all. And I don't think car boots will go anywhere.
I mean, they're always going to be needed, aren't they? Because I mean, a lot of my car boots, they're full of the house clearance guys, they're full of the traders, and where else are they going to go to get rid of a van full of stuff? And if you've just like, downsized, or you want to get rid of a loft full of stuff that you've acquired, you're going to go to a car boot. You're not going to sit there, or a lot of people aren't going to sit there and just try and list it, on eBay, because it's too time consuming.
Yeah.
So if you're not really, after an eBay price and you want to clear out stuff, it's certainly always going to be, the best option is to take it to a car boot sale.
Absolutely, it's like route one. It's cash in hand. You just pile it in the car. You take it with you. You flog it, and you spend a couple of hours doing it. Whereas if you're going to sell all of that on eBay, that's a couple of weeks' work.
Yeah. It's a kind of like next. Do I dump it? Do I give it to charity, or do I just spend the morning letting someone else have it and sell it to get rid of it? So, I mean, it certainly has. When you go around car boots, I have seen the change in the last sort of 2 years as to what's out there, but things always change, and it's the same with charity shops. That has changed as to what is available and what you can get. But I think as a reseller, you constantly have to expect that change, and if it's something that used to work doesn't work now, you have to find something else that will work, and you have to be that kind of flexible in your sourcing to be able to keep it going. There's no way you could just sort of say, I go to charity shops, I buy clothes, this is going to carry on forever, because things always change. So,
well, certainly being open to it and embracing it has always helped us evolving what we do, and it keeps it interesting. That's the big thing for me, because I've short attention span here. I'm going to quickly say a few hellos, because I've completely ignored the chat. So we'll dip in and say a few quick hellos and read out a couple of bits. Hi, Antoinette. Sorry if I've missed people above. Aaron is in. Daisy, welcome. Rich is there. Deb says, newbie to reselling, but oldie in age. I've got my chocolate and fruit gums ready. Hope all's going okay with everyone. Well, welcome, Deb. Swift Smart Solutions. That's Peter, isn't it? Monkey Thrifter.
Hey, it's Peter.
Luby Lou. So welcome, everybody. If you're in, let me flick through, see if we've got any more questions. If you've got questions or thoughts on what the future reselling might look like, just pop them in and we'll read them out. I'll see if there's anything coming yet. Well,
how have you changed, like doing what you do in the last couple of years? Because, like I say, I mean, I've definitely changed from when I first started. Has it sort of changed a lot in the last sort of like 2, 3, 4 years?
Who was that to?
Well, each of you is.
We've only. Sorry, I'll go first. Quick. We've only really changed what we're selling, really, as in we've moved completely away from clothing, whereas that was a big part of what we did. And we've included Etsy in a bigger way. Pretty much everything else has stayed constant for us.
Yeah.
Sorry. I would say from say 2 years ago, I do a lot more clothing than what I used to do. Clothing has definitely changed the income on mine. But other than that, other than trying other avenues like Depop and Vinted and stuff like that, and with very limited success, I wouldn't say that it comes with any great success, but trying those. And not buying from charity shops when I used to buy a lot from charity shops, because it's not worth it anymore, mostly. That's been a pretty sorry, Derek, that's been a pretty quick evolution with charity shops. I think all of a sudden they've almost become like unbuyable for me anyway, living down here.
Yeah, I don't go into charity shops now, really. Yeah, the changes I've done, I've started to cross-list, so I cross-list to Etsy now. Everything goes on eBay, pretty much everything. I cross-list anything vintage or that sort of thing to Etsy. I try Facebook, and yeah, I think cross-listing is the main change. And sourcing-wise, I think I'm more car boot sale now rather than auctions. So I've noticed auctions have changed as well. You know, a lot of new people coming along for reselling, and the prices have gone a lot higher. So yeah, that's the sort of thing I've had to change. So I did a lot of auctions before. I was buying carloads pretty much every week.
Do you notice that the sort of people who are new to the auctions or new, you know, obviously they're a new reseller and like they're a bit keen on paying too much.
Well, that's the problem, because obviously, you know, you've got to have a limit, and it's got to be there's got to be plenty of money in it to make it worth it.
Yeah.
But people are just paying way too much for something, and it's no longer. They'll learn.
Yeah, well, they'll learn. I see it at Rebrands as well. You know,
the prices are too high.
Yeah.
I thought of something that has evolved in the last couple of years for us, and that's the use of social media to sell. And I would include YouTube in that. You know, we sell a lot through the channel. We sell a lot through Instagram. We don't really push it as such, but people get in touch or people see stuff, and we get private messages, and we do it direct.
Well, that's the
consequence of having a presence. You know, that wasn't a thought out logical thing, but of course we're taking advantage of it, and it's fantastic. You know, it circumvents the platforms unless they message us on eBay and then we make an eBay listing. A lot of that goes on, but yeah, so that's something that certainly for us has evolved and become quite important, actually.
I think the platforms are becoming a little bit more sort of social as well, aren't they? I mean, even if you look at eBay, their messaging system's changed to a more sort of chatty sort of
with a little bubble message thing. So
how long is it going to be before you start to see it if they're typing, and you know, so you can see, you know, you can actually have a real conversation with the buyer.
I must admit, that little change I thought was brilliant, because you can see the history of the messages. You can scan back and see what they said and what they asked and what you've replied, because before that it was trawling through. We get, as you'd probably do, endless bloody messages, and I'm not very good at keeping a clean inbox. So trying to find stuff and all of that was ridiculous. And now you've got that kind of messenger style.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
I can see that evolving to more of a sort of active thing where you can see them chatting. You know, like you can on Facebook, you've got the little dots, you know, you can see they're actually typing. So people will be waiting there, ready for their response and stuff.
Antiques and Collectibles, if we go into a recession, like they are predicting, secondhand goods will be what everyone will be buying, and there will always be money in secondhand goods. 100%. And we are heading into a recession. We're hitting this cost of living crisis, which is, I think initially it's having a detrimental effect on everyone's sales. A lot of people I speak to are saying it's erratic, to say the least, if not terrible, on eBay right now, because everyone is tightening the belt. And once everyone's adjusted, I think potentially secondhand buying and selling will maybe be more of a go-to for a wider audience. I don't know. It's hard to predict.
Well, I think the sort of things that are going to be bought, maybe less of this kind of luxury, you know, treat yourself items, and potentially more of the necessities that you might have got new, but then think, well, if I can get them, and that, you know, that could be anything. It could be like household items or clothing.
People being financially pressured always, I think, injects life into the secondhand market, because it does a couple of things. It pushes people to have a clear out, to go to boot sales that wouldn't normally, because they just need some money. And it does push some people to think, well, I won't buy that PS5 game new. I'll search on eBay and save a tenner or 20 quid. I think a lot of that goes on, and yeah, we're all being squeezed. I'm feeling it with the prices of fuel and God knows what. We're all being squeezed. So it's not a good thing, but potentially for somebody dealing in secondhand goods, it could have a silver.
There's always opportunities in you know, when anything happens. So I think it'll be again, it's just another change that you have to learn to deal with, and if it means changing what you're selling or how you go about things, then you know, you've got to make that move.
It's the age-old spotting an opportunity and making the most of it. That's kind of what we are. We're opportunists.
Exactly.
Pete is predicting, I think in 30 years, e-bike gum will be the leader. Now, I think have they launched their app? Weren't you saying, Derek? The app?
I don't think it's not launched yet. No,
It's not.
Not launched. But apparently it's coming. So fingers crossed.
eBay.
Yeah, I still haven't met anyone who sold an item on eBay gum. Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong. Have you? I'm not saying of you. Have you heard of anyone who sold something on there?
No.
Occasionally, I look, and I don't just look at eBay gum. I also look at eBid. That's one that's been going for so many years.
How is it still going?
You look at some stores on there, and you can see if they've had any recent sales by their feedback and things, and they're not getting any sales. You could just see that from they're not getting any feedback.
Why, Derek? You list something on there, and one of us will buy it.
You're the first ever sale.
let's do a live stream and show it happening.
Yeah, show it happening. Yeah, that's a plan.
Right, let's see what I've got here.
But it could be that eBay isn't, they're currently the leader of second-hand stuff. It could be that something completely different in 30 years' time.
You never know. I remember when Amazon, the first few years, that was our first 10 years, and they just did really books, and they were making loss after loss for years, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was just that weird website that did books. And now look at them. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a lot of right place, right time, but also thinking far ahead. Because Andrea worked for them, and she was working for them the day they went into profit, the day they declared a profit.
I mean, I don't know when that was. Was it about 15, 20 years ago?
That was 2001 or 2 when she left. Yeah. Just before she left, they went into profit.
I kind of remember that, and I remember that being in the news. Because before, it did seem before, how on earth is that going to make money? A lot of people sort of said that. And
it was right at that growth period, wasn't it, where we were all getting comfortable with spending money online, and those that were clever put money into that side of things and have made a fortune.
I think before that you'd had all the .com sort of boom and bust on the stock market.
The bubble came and went, and then a few survivors.
And then people were very cynical about any kind of internet type business.
Do you remember Play.com?
Yeah.
They were good, weren't they, when they come out? I mean, when I had my shop, I used to buy stuff from them and resell it in the shop.
Same.
It was so cheap, some of it.
Some of their sales on at the time, DS, PSP, some of that stuff. You could buy in from their sales and sort of at least double, if not triple, your money in a shop.
We used to do it loads. I used to have so many parcels coming through the door from them.
Absolutely. Oh, all the time, mate. I used to buy from HMV.com. When they had sales, it was lovely. Anyway, Kraken Reseller says, since eBay sales have been slow, I turned to doing live sales on YouTube, and it's been doing well. That's really good to hear. Do you think
is that in the US though? Because I think is there a lot more of that kind of selling live on a YouTube? I know it happens a lot on a lot of US channels.
I think there is, but there's no reason to say that it couldn't be replicated here. Andrea and I have talked about having a go. We just haven't got organised, but I think it's a great idea. I think
definitely an interesting
with that you would, to a certain extent, you would have to have some sort of foundation of a following of an audience. There's no point in setting a YouTube channel tomorrow and then going live and saying buy my stuff because there'll be nobody there.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be an instant fix unless you can go and guest on somebody's channel. I know Dwayne used to do that, didn't he? He used to have regular auctions, if you know.
But it's all about the promotion of it and getting, people attracted to the fact that it's a sale. And I mean, if I did it on my Monday morning stream, I get a lot of the same people. I love the fact that they watch it all the time, but those 50 people aren't going to keep buying stuff from my eBay store. So the trick is, I suppose, promoting it and having that stream or channel known for the fact that it's a selling channel.
We've sold mystery boxes on our Monday night shows before, but we tend to maybe only do it once every 6 weeks or something, because otherwise, like you said, Peter, you're asking too much of the same people, aren't you, all the time? And that's obviously you've got to have an audience as well. Like Nick will have 400 or 500 people watching at one time, which is great for that kind of thing. But if you've only just started a channel, almost impossible to do that.
Yeah, I think
doing it consistent, throughout the, every day. If you want to compare it to an income like eBay, how much do you actually have to go live, and what are you talking about every day to get all these sales in? You'd have to keep following it.
I could see potentially that working much better if you had a niche channel about trading cards or about comics or whatever, and then have a monthly sale if you buy and sell on the side. So you've got an audience who are into your thing, they know you, they trust you, and then you have a monthly sale, and you could promote the stuff throughout that month, what's going to come up in the auction, blah blah blah. I think that would be great. But like you say, if you over egg that, everyone's just going to get miffed that all you're doing is selling all the time. Yeah, but there's definitely legs in it. I think yes, it is. I'm going to try it at some point.
I've just seen Paula J ask a question about, has anyone tried Insta live selling? I haven't, but I think Shelley does. Solsteruni, because she, like you say, she was very much into the jewellery and selling jewellery, and she had a lot of people watching her, for that, Lex is into jewellery and stuff like that. And I think she was selling bundles or little bundles or little individual items live on Insta, because she had that following of people who were interested in that specialist item. So it definitely can work.
Yeah, there's a lot of it goes on. My missus loves Vinted. So much stuff at better prices than eBay because no fees. Yeah, they're promoting a lot. Andrew used it for a while. I'm way behind in the chat. Let's see. Hey, Stool. Apparently on the Etsy app, you can speak the description and it types it out.
Wow.
Speak and spell. I never knew that. I might have to have a look at that. So that sounds quite useful. But when you're actually listing, I presume when you type in the description, you can just say it. Should be good.
In the future, people will want free same-hour delivery via drone.
Yeah. That's something I've heard about, that with the drone deliveries.
Well, Amazon started talking about it ages ago.
I just can't see that that's going to happen, but, who knows? But I just can't imagine this thing dropping down with your parcel. I just can't imagine it.
Well, have you seen the footage of these little, sort of average Joe type drones in Ukraine dropping bombs on tanks?
Yeah.
Well, little homemade little bombs, and they're plopping them down into the trenches and onto tanks. It's like not quite Amazon deliveries, but it's a delivery of some sort.
Almost as bad.
But if we're talking about the future and stuff, the speed things get delivered by is gonna have to be improved on as well as time goes by, because everybody wants things so quickly now. Yeah. It's only going to get worse. So I can see the demand on sellers to post things quicker.
True.
You get eBay are going to sort of really want you to post it that same day and all this sort of stuff.
Well, I've seen a lot of adverts. I don't know if you're getting them for these, buy your groceries and have one onion delivered to your door within 10 minutes. It's sort of rubbish. It's and
do that for Andrew.
But Uber Eats and all of that is really pushing. You want it. You have the thought. You go on your phone. You press the button, and someone appears. That is, I think it's making everyone really. It's pushing that instant gratification thing.
Yeah,
people get so impatient.
Yeah, and it's so not really sustainable.
Not necessary, really.
Someone driving around on a moped to deliver you your blooming ice cream. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it really is.
Lazy.
Although I wouldn't mind an ice cream now, actually.
You get on your phone.
Yeah, excuse me a minute.
How many more rebrands do you think Hermes will go through in the next 30 years?
For at least half a dozen.
Then they go back to Hermes, won't they? And say, that's where our roots,
The new Hermes.
The new Hermes.
Yes.
I brought up this one before. Does anyone know why eBay sales have dropped? We touched on the only thing I can think is the cost of living crisis that is really having an effect on people's spending decisions.
Mine has dropped. Mine has basically halved in the last month.
Really?
Ours did drop, and now I've really got back into listing. It's picked up to somewhere near where it was, but that's just because fresh listings are going on.
Yeah,
I think it might depend a lot what sort of stuff you're selling. If you're selling, quite expensive, rare, collectible items, people might not be making those purchases right now. If it's more cheaper stuff.
it's such a difficult question because mine are good at the moment, but they obviously have at various times they have been not so good, and I always think it's a bit of a strange question to ask. Is why are they lower than they were a month or two ago? It'd be very weird if someone had eBay sales which were consistently the same or consistently increasing at a slow amount. I mean, one of the things that you can also almost guarantee in reselling is it is variable, and it will be variable. And I always judge it over like a rolling 12 months and see how I'm doing in that. And sometimes even that might dip a little bit, but as long as it's where I want it, I'm not really always pushing it for it to hugely increase, but as long as you get to where you want, that's the important thing. So I mean, it will go up, it will go down. What affects it is the money people have to spend and the work you're putting in terms of listing and making sure you've got good stuff on at a sellable price. And there's a few more things that you can take into consideration, but that is a big part of it. Making sure you're listing consistently, and that's not anything that anyone else hasn't said 1,000 times before. So
Ryan actually alludes to a really important question about direct selling, which is cash. If cash goes, car boots go, or does it? Because I've seen already at car boots people holding out the little wireless.
Yeah.
I've seen it once, and
Yeah, and at a jumble trail, we went up to a house and I bought a bunch of stuff, and he whipped out his little whatever it was.
Yeah, I've done that at a jumble trail as well, and I've done bank transfers at boot sales.
So
it will literally be touch phones. So that's the
I think once it's all incorporated in here and we all trust it enough to use it, I think that question isn't a problem anymore, because who goes out without their phone with a bit of charge in it, right? So you've got that. So once I think it makes it onto your phone, so you're not carrying two devices.
Yeah,
it'll be super, super easy. But yeah, it's an interesting question about cash, because there's been talk for years about that being phased out. But I'm not sure they could ever fully do it. I don't think.
Not in our lifetime anyway. Not in our lifetime. But remembering Back to the Future, they start using fingerprints, don't they, for purchases? Fingerprints on the taxi ride and stuff. I reckon it could be fingerprints, maybe.
Oh, right. Well, the Mythbusters did a really good program about where they faked a fingerprint by using or by copying it and putting it on a bit of like silicon or something. And
let's not do that then. Let's not do that.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm so far behind. I apologize, everyone. It's always the way. Martin, hello. I've used eBay for 25 years. Wow. That's pretty much since the beginning. It's a very different place. Originally, nearly all sellers were knowledgeable collectors selling collectible items connected to hobbies by auction. Very different to now. Absolutely. I mean, I started on eBay and I think it was 98. And it was very much, a really kind of chilled, chatty collector's place. And there was no real kind of pressure to get it to you by a certain time.
Did you used to get payment by checks in the post?
Payment by check, yeah. When we started selling,
I remember I had someone, but I think it must have been like early 2000s. Sometimes I think I had someone buy something, and they weren't very happy, and they were messaging me, and it was only like a £10 item or something, and I sent them back £1 coin in the post as a refund. Because I don't know if you could do it on PayPal.
Yeah.
It's just
definitely.
You wouldn't do it now.
Cash jangling about, not even sellotape to a bit of cardboard. Mental. But interestingly, I mean, 25 years, so nearly a quarter of a century, you can see that the whole expectations and the pace of everything in general, life in general, has just gone up and up and up. We expect everything now incredibly efficiently. And we are way more demanding as customers online, particularly.
Oh, yes. There are some very demanding customers.
expectations of service are through the roof now, and Amazon has pushed that. There's no doubt. So that's
But
changed.
back then as well, it was a bit of a wild west as well, whether you were going to get scammed, because I got scammed quite a few times in those early days of eBay. Like people from Eastern Europe trying to flog your phones, and then you'd do a money transfer, and I've been done a couple of times on different things, and when they didn't have the rules and regulations that they have now.
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot more sort of safety nets for buyers and for sellers, I think, which is a good thing. Really.
I think I've missed a bunch of chat. It keeps flicking around all over the place. Let me see. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at in the chat. Sorry if I've missed questions. Hi, Brian. Charity shops are killing it for themselves. Everything good goes on eBay. It's so hard to find treasures anymore. I was contacted by somebody who I think used to be quite high up in a charity chain, who is happy to come on chat. I don't know if we can sort that out, but that would be a really interesting conversation. We touched on this whole charity shop thing.
I've been
live the other week.
Yeah, I've been moaning about charity shops for a couple of years, and I think what gets me, I don't look at it from a point of it's more difficult for resellers to get stock. I kind of look at it as people who need to use those charity shops, who maybe haven't got as much money to go and buy a pair of jeans new or something, and got to make every penny count. They are now going into, like round here, going in, and a pair of shoes is 20 quid, pair of jeans might be a tenner, and also it's that whole thing of that the stock that the charity shops are getting is all free, and you'd think it would be priced to sell, because I see locally that it just stays there. And they might be getting higher prices for less sales. It's very interesting. I don't know the financials of it and whether they are actually making more profit.
Yeah,
but I know my turnover increases when I lower my prices, and normally my profit follows. So I
think we could make a very good chat just about that, especially if we can get someone on who's been on the inside, because it is very easy for us to criticize from the outside, and I've been guilty of that many times. But also, coming from a retail background, I know some of the issues around turnover and about overheads and about this, that, and the other. But it would be an interesting discussion to have with somebody from the other side.
Yeah, you have to be careful as a reseller, because you do always get accused of you're just not able to get the stock. But I mean, for me, charity shops became sort of unviable a couple of years ago, and I just said, okay, it is now just impinging on my time. I'm going to find something else. And whereas I would used to go out 3 times a week and spend £100 or £200 in a charity shops, like 5 or 6 charity shops, now they don't get that because I have to go elsewhere. And it's a shame, but there must be reasons why they do it. So.
Well, I used to work for a charity that had multiple shops, and I know that the online department of the charity I work for, the eBay, they used to have eBay, Depop, Amazon, Discogs, Magpie, whatever. They used to do all that, and the shop managers used to get credited by sending stuff to eBay. So if they sent something to eBay and it's sold, they would get half of the sales credit for their target. So it was worth them sending it to eBay rather than leave it in the shop, because they're more likely to hit their targets in the shop. So that's probably how a lot of them work.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, they're a business, and they're going to evolve in the most efficient way of making the most money, ideally for their charity, right? They're a business like the rest of us, so it's going to constantly be evolving, and they were never going to ignore the internet. I've been blamed personally for ruining it for everybody by talking about the internet. It's like, hello, I think they were going to find out. Anyway, Derek, did you see Ken's comment there? You do a lot of boot sailing. Have you seen that evolve, as Ken said, into dealers?
There's a lot of dealers, but I see a lot of casual sellers as well. You know, I think throughout the winter there's a lot of dealers only, I guess. And you see the same stores every week. But during the proper season, you know, like April to September, whatever it is, you get loads, well, at mine anyway, you get loads of private sellers, people emptying their lofts and stuff. So, yeah, I don't think it's all dealers. It depends on the car boot. I mean, there's one I go to, well, I used to go to, I don't go there anymore. It is really pretty much the same sellers every week. And I don't go there anymore because of that. But there's plenty of other markets that have casual sellers. So, yeah, I think if your car boot sales are like that, try somewhere else.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ken's saying jumble trails are the future for resellers. We love the jumble trails because there's always a couple that are obviously resellers who are just taking advantage of the sale and setting up a stall, or maybe, you know, a dealer or whatever. But most are just people bringing stuff that's never seen the light of day out of the house and putting it on their front lawn, and it's great. It really is.
I'm going to have to try some because I haven't done them yet, and I know Peter Ray has done a couple of the ones you've done, Nick, I think. So
I've met Pete at least one.
So they're quite close. I just kind of think, to drive to a stall and check it out, and then get back in the car and drive to the next one, and have to worry about parking. But because I haven't tried it, I'll probably do the first one. Go, God, that was incredible.
I find that part. I mean, I usually have a wingman, Andrea, to help with the navigation.
I wouldn't have
which
that.
just causes arguments, which is fun.
Yeah.
But I find that part of it, the kind of buzz. It's genuinely like a treasure hunt.
Are you nipping round in the Mini?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd have I need to get a smaller car, I think.
I'd take the big car. It's not an issue.
If only we had an app for this. I mean, it'd make it easier, wouldn't it?
Well, exactly. Yeah, funnily enough, I'm arranging a day soon to have a full day. I'm going to go and meet the developer, and we're going to have a full day. And by that point, we should have no bugs left. So launch is coming. Well, actually, I say launch is coming. We've got to get it through Google Play, all of their vetting before they accept it onto Google Play. And then we've got to convert to Apple. So, yeah.
I don't really see them up here, really. I mean, I'm not really that hot on checking like local pages and stuff like that. So there could be some going on that I don't see, but I don't see any. But yeah, I'm looking forward to setting one up when you've got the stuff covered.
Yeah, that's how I hope. And that side of it will take a lot of, working out what works and what doesn't. But we've spent so much time making it as easy as possible to get one going. Essentially, I don't want to give it away before it's out, but you will be able to, on this interactive map, pin like the center of where you want the event to be. And then anybody else who has the app can go and click on your pin and add themselves to it. And they place their pin where their house is. It's that easy. And then the map will build up around that sale, and it will go into everybody's feed. The date will be there. You can click reminders and all of this stuff. So that doesn't exist yet. And I'm so excited for that to be out there. Whether it becomes successful and people use it, I don't know. But yeah, it's exciting. Stool says something, 3D printing. Now, I know a couple of people who are dabbling in this as we speak. He says, I think 3D printing will have an influence. People will be able to buy bespoke items which may or may not be resaleable. Well, what I've heard of is people making replacement parts, and little widgets that you can't get hold of easily for, you name it, you can just 3D print it. And then you don't have to have stock. When the order comes in, you click print and it prints out a little plastic widget. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's not technically reselling, but it's kind of the same ballpark.
Well,
if you had a certain niche, you could have like a catalogue of stuff you can print.
Exactly.
It's like a key or keyboard key or.
Well, a lot of vintage computing, I love my vintage Spectrums and Commodores and Amigas and stuff like that. And a lot of, people who are into that sort of thing will 3D print stuff and, stuff that they need. And, that's kind of, a similar thing, really. People who have got 3D printers have got a technology that not a lot of people have got. It's a bit like when video cameras first came out, and I'm talking like early 80s. My dad used to do video weddings because no one had a video camera. So there was a need to use that technology, and people wanted that technology, but they hadn't, couldn't afford to buy one, or didn't have one. And I can certainly see. I mean, there are 3D printing services available now, so it's a definite thing. I'll have to go and get a 3D. Sorry, Nick.
I think I'm somewhere near the bottom of the chat. It's just jumped, but I just saw this. Steve says in 1996, a bloke came into our school to tell us about this new internet thing. His talk ended with the words, I'd love it if this was true. I hope so. There's a company that sells books on the internet called Amazon. Buy shares in it.
Yeah.
Imagine being told that information in 96 and not doing it.
I definitely remember that sort of, people talking about Amazon like that. It's that company that does books on the internet. And you just like send in your book to this dusty warehouse, and someone will buy it at some point in the future, and they haven't made any money for the last 10 years. And it was all that sort of thing. It was like, okay.
You know what these apps are like? Always saying they're coming out. Is that not right, Nick? Yes, it is right. I've stopped talking about dates. I'm just saying it's coming. Michelle, hi. But rich people are really spending right now. My high-end home goods are selling faster than don't know what that word is. And lots of people are moving and redecorating. That's true. Everybody's on the move. Well, we are. And various friends and family are buying and moving right now. It's like everyone delayed through COVID, and now everyone's upping sticks. So, yeah, that's interesting. And that there is a certain portion of society that is kind of insulated from the ups and downs of the economy, right? Who always have money and disposable money. So it does depend what you're selling, what your target is, whether you're affected by this current cost of living crisis.
There's always people with money out there. I mean, I must have sold about 4 CRT TVs in the last week, and they're not essential purchases, are they? Somebody's decided to buy them, over.
Exactly.
And if they've chosen that, they must have disposable money.
Yeah, I mean, I think as many doors will open as doors close in terms of people being available to buy stuff or not buy stuff. So you've just got to make sure you're there for the sales that are going to happen.
Do you think that the need for second-hand goods will outweigh the fact that people don't have as much money to spend? So do you think it will be better?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think the real question there is, because selling on eBay is so much more accessible to the average Joe, will a lot of it, will they put all their stuff on there, be selling it, so certain markets might be flooded because people need money instead of actually selling it themselves rather than going to the boot sale with it? Have things evolved that much that people are thinking, oh, well, I'll just click a picture and stick it on Facebook or eBay or eBay Gum? Who knows? I don't really know.
I think Vinted is like the online car boot sale, isn't it? I think that a lot of like average Joe public who might go to a boot sale are utilizing Vinted to sell sort of low value, cheap stuff. That's the way I see it, because I buy from Vinted and try selling a little bit on Vinted, carefully, but
it really depends on what you source, though. I mean, a lot of the stuff I buy, you could never really, it wouldn't be worth people listing it online if that's the price they want. If they want like £2 or £3 for something, car boot sale is really the only place that they can realistically sell it at. Otherwise, it's just worth throwing away.
Yeah, that is the big advantage of jumble trails or boot sales is you can take a load of your kid's old that isn't really worth anything or worth enough to invest the time selling on eBay, but you could flog it all for 50p or a quid and make a little bit, I guess. At least it recycles it.
Yeah.
I
Because
just
they want it gone quick, don't they? They don't, we might still buy it and then list it on eBay, but we're asking, we're waiting for the right buyer and stuff like that, and we can afford the time to leave it listed for like a couple of months or something.
Glass Hammer says, I'm sat on an inventory of around 3,000 vinyl records, getting 3 or 4 sales a day compared to 10 or 15. That's a big drop. Tempted to send the whole lot to a big auction house and start again to keep the boat afloat. Well, I hope things improve so you don't have to. Yeah, that is a big drop.
I mean, if Glass Hammer's considering like sending it to an auction, then why don't they just kind of maybe have a mass sale on their eBay or something? Slash the prices down and get stuff moving a bit quicker. What I would probably do.
Bundles or something like that, rather than
bundles does work with vinyl.
Bundles,
done that a bit. Sold one recently. eBay seller, hello. Nick should host auctions and bring some others on. We have discussed it. I think we're going to try one out with ourselves and just see if we're comfortable with it, how it works, whatever. The guests can promote it for a bit, then have auction together on Nick's. Do not do one every day. We wouldn't do it every day. No, that would be way too much.
I think if I did that, or if I went on like another channel to sell, half a dozen of my items, I just have this fear that no one would bid, or and you probably get that a bit in the charity auctions, but of course, that's allayed because everyone's so really generous with all those charity auctions you do. But when it's your own stuff, it's like, And
you also want a certain higher price for it as well, because
you wouldn't. Businesses, if you got something you're expecting 50 quid for, and it's like scraping, trying to get a tenner, you'd be like, "Oh God, what have I done?"
It really depends on what you sell, I think, as well. I think if you sold, clothing and stuff, it might be a little bit easier to sell. But if I came on and said, "Oh, I've got a video recorder," how many?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nick said earlier, if you did have a specialist channel like as Mark, who does a lot of Star Wars, is it Blue Vintage Toys? And he gets a lot of people watching his channel because it's like vintage Star Wars. And I'm sure there's like specialists in records, I know Brum Reseller, he has his record shop, and a lot of people would be very much interested in kind of like specialism in records.
I bet John could build that up if he really wanted to. You'd have to commit to something, but I bet John, because he's so good on YouTube and he's built up that following.
But more difficult as a generalist to just sort of pluck out this, that, and the other.
And that's the big question mark in my mind. What am I going to put up for auction? A plush and a record and a ceramic pot. It's like, really? I don't know.
I can't. You need an audience, don't you, for the whole niche coming to you, rather than a general thing. It would have to be.
But then, in saying that, we sell a lot to our viewers anyway, and they're really supportive in that. And we sell stuff that surprises me, But people need stuff, and people collect stuff. So if you have a big enough audience, I guess it works. I don't know. It's a really interesting one. I think this is a really good question, actually, from Martin. Do you think specialist sites for specific things will rise further, like Bricklink for Lego? And I think potentially yes. I think what's the other one that I had in my mind? It was mentioned a minute ago. Oh, Discogs, which has been around for a long time, seems to just keep rising and rising. Bricklink again has been around for ages and does incredibly well.
Has that grown though, sort of over the last? I've got a Bricklink account. I must have had it for about 10 years. I've had it for a long time, but I'm not really aware that Bricklink has kind of come more into people's sort of field of vision as to buy or sell Lego. I don't know really.
So if I got a haul of Lego, like on the car boot sale on Sunday,
I wouldn't stick it on Bricklink.
I wouldn't put it on.
Yeah, Bricklink. I think it all depends on the platform.
If I specialised in it, I might. If I bought like 20 massive crates of it, and that was going to be my income for the next 6 months.
Yeah, if you're a
Yeah.
Lego specialist. But
Yeah.
I think it's more to do with not the specialism of the site, but the ease of use of the site, and
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Chris, on that one?
I don't know really.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to predict the future, but I think I would say, yeah, I think there'll be some things come up that surprise us, that are specializing. I don't know. It's an interesting. I mean, I've had experience in just doing Lego, and it's something you have to properly commit to and have like hundreds, if not thousands, of parts available, because you make your money when you get an order of somebody who wants all of these parts. You know what I mean? You don't make your money by selling one of these at 99p and one of those at 50p. You make your money when someone puts a £50 order through. But in order to get there, you have to build up trust in your store, a whole host of return customers, and all of that. And that takes time.
It takes time. It's a huge time sink, Lego.
It's committing to these things. Anything is possible. You know, you could be a specialist in whatever you desire, but you have to properly commit, and it's not easy.
I think it's great for people who are into Lego for that to be available. And I mean, I've used it to complete bits and bobs, but for selling on the flip, I can't imagine it. I mean, I've had and still got lots and lots of Lego, but I'd eBay it all, and new stuff I'd probably Amazon. So
it's so hard to specialize, though, isn't it? Because
you're putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, and I can't imagine like walking past some things because I'm specialist in something else. That would be difficult. I just can't imagine. I mean, I've thought about it a lot. Like, I don't know what I would specialize in, because there's lots of things that there's something
cycle
shelling. It's cycling tops is an example. Yeah, I've done all right with that over the last couple of years, and I thought about like having a Shopify site just to do that, but I just thought, no, I can't be. No, I just can't be bothered.
But be like, no, I won't buy that Mewtwo. I'm a cycle top guy.
That was my downfall. Where I've specialised in Lego. We specialise in clothing and nothing but clothing. Yes, me. It's ridiculous. I hate clothing. And the downfall was exactly what you said, Chris. I'd go to the boot sale and it'd be like, well, I know that's worth 50 quid. I'm not leaving that on it. Why would I leave that there for 20p when it's worth a tenner? And I couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it, because I have enough limited knowledge and enough stuff. And then it just dawned on me, I enjoy the random hunt. I just enjoy picking up random stuff, and I just had to embrace it and be a specialist, and not be a generalist, rather.
Yeah.
There's specialist Facebook groups as well that you can sell on. You've got like there's a hi-fi and high-end hi-fi sort of site that I've joined, and I have listed a couple of things. It hasn't sold, but there's all sorts of Facebook sites just selling certain niches.
Yeah, and I think perhaps we'll talk about Facebook towards the end. We've been going nearly an hour. Yes, we'll have a chat about Facebook, because I think that in itself is a big discussion. I just want to say hi to Vinny. I didn't know you were in. Hi, Vinny, and I'm aware I'm way behind in the chat, so we probably missed loads of questions, but apologies. So yeah, Facebook. Has anyone got any particular views on where they might be going with reselling? Because it's pretty huge on there already.
It's just the Wild West, isn't it? It's shocking, Facebook Marketplace. I really hate it. And there's many scams. There's so many scams. Yeah. I did that couple of videos where I got scammed on Facebook. Yeah. Well, I've had so many messages, like private messages from people who have been scammed, saying, "Can you help me? What do I do?" I've been scammed. The latest one I had this week saying that they've been scammed for 1,200 quid for a phone. Someone's totally scammed them on their doorstep, and it's like, it is just a Wild West. I just say, the sooner they organise Facebook Marketplace, and I don't mind paying for a service that is safer than what it is now. A small payment, whatever, a fee. I don't mind fees if it means it's a better place, but it's just terrible right now.
I had really high hopes for it when a couple of years ago. I thought, oh, excellent, I'll be able to source on here, could potentially sell on here. But I kind of got to the point of looking at it and going, well, this is just like this is just a reseller putting their whole inventory on, and this is probably on eBay as well. So
You
I was
probably see
looking to source off it, and it's just too hard, really.
I mean, I cross-list pretty much all the stuff I list on eBay goes onto Facebook at the eBay price.
It's your stuff I'm looking at.
And within a minute of it going live, I've got I assume they're bots, but I get a scam message. Is this available? If I'll take it. I'll send a DVD postman to your address. And all this sort of stuff. And there's two different. So you click on two different links, and it's just constant, always getting those messages. And there's no way to block them. You can block the person who sends it, but you can't block messages that have a certain phrase in it, or block links and stuff like. You can't do any of that. So until they've sorted out all of that stuff and the proper payment method in place and a thing that's, if it's sold, it's gone. You don't rely on the person clicking sold. Actually,
I think your experiences, all of our experiences with Facebook, really highlights exactly what Chris just said. I'll happily pay the fee, just sort this out, and then it makes eBay look amazing, doesn't it? Right? eBay isn't perfect, and I made a video recently that I hope you guys saw, where I said it's never going to be. Because it all comes down to trust. Distance selling will never be perfect while people are prepared to lie and scam, right? Let's end that there. But they do as much as they can, whereas Facebook is doing virtually nothing. And that's where we're at with it. And it is, I agree with you, it's the Wild West. You can get away with anything on there if you try hard enough.
Yeah. So, they do nothing. Facebook do absolutely nothing when someone's been scammed. And most of the time, they don't even block somebody's account who's the alleged scammer. They don't even remove them off the platform.
You got your money back? Was it by going through the bank?
The bank gave me my money back.
You got a crime number and everything.
I had to go through action fraud. I got a crime number. It's not going to be investigated because it's small fry in the world.
But getting the number was the important thing, wasn't it?
Getting the number is the most important thing, and then your bank can attempt to recover the money. But it's unbelievable the number of messages I've had about scams on Facebook following those videos. It's shocking.
Was it like plastic crates or something?
Yeah, all I was buying was plastic boxes for storage. Yeah.
Touch your head in.
Yeah, but Facebook they do nothing. It's totally inaccessible as well. It's like if you want to ask Facebook, or report a scam to them, it's inaccessible. It's very frustrating for people.
I personally feel like Facebook have seriously looked at this maybe and decided that's a lot of headache. That's a lot of investment, stress, getting a whole team of people on the end of the phone to sort out the problems. And there'll be a lot. They'll have looked at eBay and gone, whoa, they've been going for how long and they haven't sorted that out? Yeah, this is...
Well, how do they
make leave them to it? Let's just leave these people to it and they can do whatever they like.
How do Facebook make money out of the stuff sold on there then?
I just think they harvest data. I just think
I suppose
and then can you sponsor the advertising?
Can you sort of pay?
Yeah, you can. I've never done it, so I don't know 100%. There's some sort of sponsor or boost or something. You can pay something.
So maybe a few people do that, and the rest is, like you say, is just.
And you can do Facebook ads as well, can't you?
Yeah.
You pay for something to be advertised, but I'm sure a lot of it is to do with like the internal algorithms of advertising, because you know what it's like. You look at something on Facebook Marketplace, and next minute you're getting ads on your main page.
There'll be a bit of that.
Just think about it, and you can start seeing it.
It's also all interaction on their site, and it's time people are on their site, and it boosts engagement, etc., which they're after anyway. So it's positive for them that people are using their site full stop. But I just get the impression they're just keeping it at arm's length because they don't want to invest the time and money into sorting it out.
I did hear something. It was on somebody's live. I can't remember whose it was, but they basically echoed that. They reckon there was an official tweet or something like that, or not a tweet, probably Facebook announcement saying that very thing, that they're not going to pursue the marketplace as a proper sort of separate thing. I can't remember whose live it was. But yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, we've hit an hour and 5 minutes, believe it or not. If you've just joined us, I've seen a few people pop in. Hi, Zahir, by the way. I'm sure I saw Zahir whiz past in the comments a minute ago. So, yeah, this was the first of these Leighton Lives. Whether that's what it ends up being called, I don't know. The plan is we're going to rotate between myself, Derek, and Peter. Chris was our guest for this evening. So who wants it next week?
You want it, Derek? You take it. And then I'll do the third one.
Okay, so we'll be on Derek's channel. I have put the links for everybody's channel below, Derek, Peter, and Chris's. So if you're not subbed, please go over, show everyone some support, and we will be back. This is our time slot for now, 9:30 on a Thursday. I know, random, but it seemed to work. So the plan is at the moment, we'll be live on Derek's channel, same time next week. We haven't discussed a topic yet. We'll come up with something in the meantime.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, you could suggest a couple of bits. Suggest a topic or two before we go. Yeah, and anything channel-wise. How's it going, Chris? You got much on the go channel-wise?
I'll have a boot sale video out the weekend as usual. Monday night on our live, we've got a company called Fleek coming on, and they are a brand new online marketplace for wholesale vintage clothing. So if you think of eBay, but selling wholesale vintage clothing from all different companies, they're going to come on. First time on YouTube, they're coming on.
That's awesome.
So come and watch.
That's exciting. Derek, yourself, what's going on with YouTube?
Yeah, I've got a bank of boot sale haul videos I've got to get uploaded, probably for the last 2 months or so. So I've got some that are in the dark still, and some are in the light. So yeah, I've got those to get uploaded. So
good stuff.
They'll be coming.
And Pete, you're still doing your Monday listing?
Yeah,
live?
the Monday morning, 11 o'clock, to try and get the week started with a few listings and general waffle. And like Derek, I've got quite a few haul videos that haven't gone on because I'm so busy trying to deal with all the stuff I'm sourcing and getting it on eBay. And that's taking priority, which is the right thing, listing it on eBay. But I have one I've got to put on my bank holiday one because I stupidly said in a video, if this gets 50 likes, I will upload that video where I'm doing a grumpy haul video. I was very tired, very grumpy, and I hadn't got a lot of good stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I've got this. So that's got to go on. So
can't wait for that.
Grumpy Pete does his haul video.
I made a very brief video where I sold a stack of stuff that I picked up for free. I love free stuff. It just makes my day. So that'll be coming on our channel tomorrow. So yeah, it just remains for me to. I didn't see any suggestions for a comment for a chat next week. So we'll just have to come up with something.
We need suggestions for what we're going to talk about, and suggestions for maybe who the guest is going to be as well.
Well, that might depend on the topic. We're going to try and get people who have some insight maybe into the topic.
That'd be good.
We'll see. We'll see how this thing evolves.
Try and find an expert from somewhere.
Yeah, we were stuck with Chris tonight. I mean,
have to do
that. Sorry about that.
That's right. So thank you everyone who joined us. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you got something out of it. And it remains for me to say thank you to our guest, Chris. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
And regulars, Derek up here, Peter down there, and this idiot here. Take care. We'll see you all soon. Ta-ra.
Cheers. See you later.